So, welcome to the Boruto podcast. This is chapter 18 review, and we're joined by Midori, Watanaga, Watch Boruto, Strix, TM1X, Y, and a few more. So, this chapter has Matsuri on the cover. And I gotta say, the cover is dope. And props to Ikimoto for that. So this chapter starts off with Sumire. And it's this Sumire, I gotta say, Sumire is 100% a main character. They're literally showing it. She's at the start of this chapter. And you can already tell that the vibes are, you can tell. We're on page 1 or page 3.
Yeah, I think Sumire is all bummed because of her conversation with Sarada. I mean, you could see it in her face.
Yeah, but it's not just her body language, but I think it's also the way that they're playing this out. The way Ikimoto drew this, you can really feel the energy that this is given. Like the angles of stuff and the close-ups. It's in the text here. There's no dialogue. It's just like that. And we see, wow, right off the bat, Sumire walks in, and Kawaki has Amuro in a tough spot. So Sumire says Kawaki, and Kawaki says, "Relax, Sumire. I'm totally sane." And may look violent, but we're just having a talk. And Kawaki says, "At this point, I don't care that you've been tinkering with my body like I said before. However, that ends now. I'll decide things from here on." And Amuro, how many times have we seen Amuro in this situation? I feel like we've seen him in this situation all the time. It's like a reoccurring thing. Yeah, like he gets himself into situations like this, and he somehow gets out of it. Kawaki says on page 5, he's like, "Change my settings, amp up my offensive power to max. If you won't, then you're of no use to me, not kidding." That's crazy. And he's like, "I'm not kidding." And he says, "Look into my eyes, you see that?" And then, what is this next clip? Is that Amuro's eye in that panel? It is.
Yeah, it is.
So Amuro. So, okay. He says only babble in your sleep, and he turns Kawaki's his shutdown code. He activated Kawaki's shutdown code. But then what's very interesting is then the next panel on page 7, they have a close-up of his eye, and it's very intense, like something's going on. But the panel before that, his eye wasn't doing that. Do you think Amuro has some type of power or something?
I think it was the code works like that. Yeah. It was that he pushed it to sleep and he was shocked, probably.
Welcome back, Watch Boruto.
Yeah, I think Kawaki was shocked that Amuro can put him to sleep.
Don't you think he knew that though?
I mean, he's not stop this, so.
Didn't Boruto say something about that or no? In the last chapter?
I don't think so. Has he seen it? I don't think he's seen it firsthand. Because when he did it to Delta, they were at the little hideout. I don't know what it is, but the hideout. Only him, Amato, Koji, and Delta, of course, were there. So that was the first time we seen it. Koji was like, "I suspect I have one of my own." The shutdown code.
Yeah, that's what it was.
When he did it to Code, it was Code, who else? Shikamaru, Franco, right? Because it was Delta, but the good one. Now, who else was there? Ada. That was all the people in the room.
Yeah.
And then they went to the other place. They went to wherever Ada and David are at. What is that?
Boruto told Kawaki to go get his limiters off. And that's why he's doing this now. So
Yeah,
Boruto is using the feature today.
Of a shutdown code, though. I don't think he was like, oh yeah, it's a shutdown code with it too. Watch out, you know. 'Cause I
And
don't
then
even think Boruto's seen it.
so here we have Sumire witnessing it, and in her head we see she's talking to herself. It says a failsafe just like with Delta and emergency shutdown code. Sumire is taking all that information in, and I think she's like a silent weapon for that. And Amado knows, and he says, "You have impeccable timing, Sumire. Can you help me move him?" It's not the way he says it is almost like Sumire is destined to pop up at these moments.
Impeccable timing.
Yeah, maybe that's something about her that she pops up at the right time for things. I don't know. That could be
I
something.
mean, it's all destiny, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So then, the very next panel, we see Kawaki again on the floor. Ikimoto just keeps having that meme or some shit. Or
He's sleeping, leave him alone.
just sleeping Kawaki again.
But like he didn't do this for the last 10 chapters.
Right. That's crazy. Okay, so now we're on to the next scene. We have Team 7 with Ryu. And then who were the other two? The other two ninjas from the Sand Village. Yeah, Yoda. Yo, can you hear that? Can you hear the dog?
What dog?
Okay, you can't? Okay, good.
No.
Guitar. Let's continue. So Yoda and all them. So Kawaki's sleeping, and we see Team 7 on the next scene. And here's Mitsuki talking to Ryu. He says, meet Yoda, the girl on the left, and the one with the blade is Arya. Honestly, the blade is thick. He says, hi there. And it's this scene seems very intense. Like, you can just tell that, like, they got he's got his hand in his pockets, and Yoda is like pissed. Okay, so on the next page we get to page 10. Sarda saying she's shy, it takes her time to warm up. Tone it down, Yoda, you're not a kid anymore. So Arya is like talking shit a little. So now we see Matsuri and Konohamaru, and I feel like this is gonna be like a really memorable scene in the anime when it comes out. I mean, she is on the cover of this chapter too. And she's basically saying she likes Konohamaru, right? She's like, "What do you think?" And Konohamaru's like, "Well, I don't know if I get it completely, but at least you seem fine physically, and your color's good." And she says, "I have no idea why, but for whatever reason, it seems like I was super nervous. But as I started feeling more and more normal, how could that be?" And Konohamaru says, "Maybe because we just met. It's not uncommon." She says, "I feel like I'm finally my true self. I'm really enjoying talking to you." And that kind of seems a little cringe.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I think it's something else to it. So I think they're the only ones that have been with their target for a long period of time. The only one was Hidari, right? He was face to face with Sarda, but he was fighting her.
Yeah.
They're not fighting. So I wonder if it's like they were talking about wild beast cubs in a previous chapter. I'm wondering if it's like their nurture and then the nature. They're putting one of the Shinjus against the other one. In that sense, so one is gonna be natured, or it's gonna be doing stuff by its nature, Hidari, or he's gonna try to kill Sarda, and then the other one is gonna get nurtured by whoever's nurturing them, either Konohamaru or whatever, but it's Matsuri. Because That's
Right.
the only thing I can think of with wild beast cubs and are just
So you think-
child.
You think we're gonna see Konohamaru tame Matsuri and make him fight, or make her fight Ryu?
I mean, I don't know about tame because they're still sentient, right? They're of free will, at least somewhat, compared to actual animals. Well, even the animals that Shinobi are with, they're in contracts or they're in whatever, like the dogs, the toads, all those. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's gonna be a nature versus nurture. They're gonna not literally match them up, like Hidari's gonna fight Matsuri, but they're gonna show you the nature side and the nurture side of development for the two different whoever it be. You know,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
Jurassic thing.
So we see at the bottom of this page, we see Konohamaru, or we see Matsuri saying, would it be okay if I called you Konohamaru-chan? And it's like that, like, what? Shocker. Whoa, and then the next page, we see Konohamaru having a flashback of him as a kid, and with Moegi, and it's her saying Konohamaru-chan, like, it remembers her saying that throughout their life. And then it goes back to him looking at Matsuri. I think Konohamaru's like extremely worried. Like, this is insane. I don't even know how Naruto would handle this. This is crazy. So the next page, we see it's Mitsuki and Ryu. And I think this scene is really badass. Ryu said, so where is it, this clue that might lead to that Boruto guy? You said you saw something around here, right? Wouldn't he know that it's Boruto Otsutsuki? Why is he saying Boruto guy? You know
Well,
what
I
I
think
mean?
it's just a casual thing, right? How he calls Jura Sensei or Elder, whatever. He's but it's not really casual, but it's more loose. I don't know.
He's
Chill
vague.
guy, he's a chill guy.
It's a little, he's being vague. I don't know. It's weird. Okay, so then all of a sudden, Ryu he uses his like metal sand ability, and like I think it looks crazy. I think this would be like something cool. It means Sarada there. It's a badass little scene. And Sarada's asking Ryu what he's doing, and he said, "Oh, this? I'm spreading iron sand around. It's my detection ability. I learned a lot of things using it." He says he's gonna puff around this area a bit, and Boruto is nearby and he'll find him quickly. And and then he brings his iron sand around to Yodo, and she still has her pissed off face, right? And Ryu says, "What mighty bloodlust you got, Ms. Yodo," with the Z, Ms. And he said, "I was right about you. Your bloodlust is off the charts." So he already knows that she's mad at him. That's kind of like a signal for him, you know? He already knows.
I'm wondering if that's part of the sensitive ability. Because there's a lot of abilities or just people that can all sense intent.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I'm
I'm
pretty
wondering
sure
if
that's
that's
what it is. No, they pointed it out.
Do with emotions in that one.
yeah, like Naruto is Tate mode, who else? Or the QB, whatever. And then Damon, of course, right? His whole shit is about intent. So, who else? I think Kawaki did it too, but that was really just how he talked about Mitsuki, right? When it was chapter 1, I think. Kawaki was like, "Cool down your bloodlust," because you know basically was thinking about Boruto appearing.
Yeah.
He thinks is really Kawaki. Mind swap.
Yeah. So on the next page, we have page 16. We have Yodo, and she said, "Don't let it bother you. I'm always like this. All of us ninja are." And that's kind of like, that's like a bad look for all ninja, I guess. And Mitsuki said, "Hey Ryu, can I ask you something?" He says, "Konoha Village considers Boruto a criminal. That's why we're hunting him down. Why are you guys looking for him?" And then as a moment of silence, we see everyone's expressions real quick. And Ryu says, "Honestly, I don't really understand it myself, but he apparently knows too much about stuff, like the thorn bulbs." And Sarda says, "Thorn bulbs?" On the next page, page 18. Ryu says, "Yeah, a lot of other things too. He's become rather inconvenient for us. So Elder Druid decided to kill him." And Sarda said, "Thorn bulbs? I think I remember Boruto mentioning those." He says, "Hey Ryu, maybe we can use one as bait to lure Boruto out. What do you think?" That's a pretty cool way to end the scene. And then we hop back to page 19. So this scene is back with Kawaki, Amado, and Sumire. Kawaki wakes up. He's on the bed. Amado's looking on the computer or something. Surprised he's not smoking a cigarette. And Amado, he already knows Kawaki's awake. And he says, "Don't flip out, Kawaki. Let's have a civil talk." This is where things get crazy. Page 20. This is something very, very interesting. So Amado says, "I do hear your point. The divine trees are definitely a threat, and I did not foresee their emergence at all. I will have to modify your ability setting to fully offensive power form in order to stand up to them." And then he says, "But only one." And he stands up. On one condition. And on that panel right there where he says that, he's walking towards something in the back. And the next panel it gets closer. And the next panel it's closer. And we see, the one after that. And it's literally a Kibi, an Akibi clone inside of this device. And at the front of the device there's a little hole, like a little shape for a karma. And it's just a Kiwi sitting here. This is very interesting. This can go anywhere, Kanye. And I'm very surprised to see this.
Yeah, I'm wondering. So that whole setup of the little tube or whatever, it looked like an incubator, but to me, especially with her what she's wearing, it's a weird cloth over the front. But I'm wondering if they're gonna do that for the callback to when Jigen did it to him, to Kawaki. Remember? Kawaki was in an IV bag looking thing, and there was a pot on the floor with tubes coming up to it.
Yeah.
Jigen, when he was talking about, "I'm gonna give you a gift." Yeah, Kotu. When I'm gonna give you a gift, and then he put his hand, his whole arm, really in the thing, and then the karma just transferred into the water. The water went up the pipes. It filled up the bag, and then we know what happened. 2 people lived, and one of them got a good karma. So
That's what's going on here.
Yeah.
Honestly,
they're doing it for the purposes of in the future, right? Because we all know Kawaki has some change. We don't know what caused it or why he even changed for that cause, right? Oh yeah, this caused something, but why would it justify it? Because at the beginning of episode 1, or really just flash forward scene, right? The flash forward scene when they're fighting Boruto versus Kawaki. He's talking about he's gonna send him somewhere. it's no longer I'm going to kill you, right? As we know for now. So I'm wondering if that change of heart right there also is going to tie in with whatever this is right here, where that I'm thinking he's going to refuse to do the Akabe thing because even before, right, in part 1 or Naruto Next Generation, when he was telling Boruto about, oh, you could just put your karma on somebody else and resurrect, right? He was talking about, and I know the perfect person, Code.
Yeah.
He was for it, right? He was for, a life for a life, basically. And then Boruto, of course, being good, he refuses. He's not going to take a life, even if it means to save his own, which will bite him. I already know. But I'm wondering if they're doing that whole setup of, look, there's a little karma shape to put your hand over, probably, and then transfer, and then it goes.
I was thinking, maybe Akabe is not who we think she. Like, why would all we want her to have karma? Like, just like that's the only way to make her actually come back to life. But what do you think? Don't you think this might take a twist and she'd actually like get some Shibai powers or something?
But I don't know. It's
like he already pre-implanted. He probably put something in her already, some genetic stuff from Shibai.
Yeah, from what we know, he knows he's exhausted all options. Mm-hmm. That was back then when he flashback of what he was doing before he met Jigen. He was like, oh, they tried medicine, the doctors, they tried medicine and shit, and he was like, nah, I found another way, and it was cloning, right? And the cloning didn't work because it kept coming back, but it was never her. And then he finally broke down and Jigen came up behind him. So from what we know, he said he tried everything. Whether he's lying, because he said that when to Naruto and them, right? Yeah. Whether he's lying, I don't know. But from what he told me, I got to take him at his word. And he even said it again with Ishiki. When they were in the little root, or is it root or foundation? The Danzo hideout that can obstruct the Byakugan. It was him, Katasuke, Sumire, and Kawaki. This is before Kawaki got teleported over to the fight, Naruto and Ishiki and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So when he was talking to Kawaki, he was like, "Hey, is it the feeling of powerlessness or grief over losing the karma?" Because this is when Kawaki had no karma, so he had no power, and he felt like he couldn't do anything. He was literally just sitting there, right? Hiding. Which goes back to his backstory with him and Jigen. He running around the facility trying to get away. He hid in a closet. He made him come out, the whole thing. But when he told him that, he was like, I'm just doing what I think is best at the moment. He's reading out the whole situation. This is paraphrasing. It's not what he actually said, but that's basically what he said. He was reading the whole situation, and he just goes with the answer he thinks is best, which at the time was to flip over and help the good guys defeat the bad guys. Because if it was no good, if it was no competition, if it was nobody contending against what Ishiki wanted, there would be no world. Meaning there would be no world for his daughter if they even brought him back, because he don't even know if he could.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there's anything more to it. I really think it's just him trying to get his daughter back.
Okay, well,
there's all this weird stuff that he tells him.
So Kawaki argues with him in the next few pages. So Amado says that's not Delta; it's a separate, fresh clone body that he prepared for Akibi, a resurrection vessel. He said all I need you to do is implant this vessel with the karma, and my daughter can be reborn. And he says he added Akibi's data to that karma to make that happen. And he says he failed many times at doing this, or trying to get her resurrected. And he says he needs help from Kawaki. And Kawaki says, I'll say this again. If your revived daughter turns out to be an Otsutsuki, I will kill it, no exceptions. Well, my thoughts on that is if he gives his karma to a Kiwi and then a whole resurrection happens right then and there with the vessel, the karma, Kawaki's gonna lose his karma. So like how would that happen? You know, how's that gonna work?
They don't lose their karma when you transfer. Jigen still had his when he gave it to Kawaki.
But it went away from Kawaki when
It went away when Jigen revived.
exactly.
It's only if he's dead.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So if Kawaki puts his karma on the Kibi and then she is revived, his would go away. That's what I'm saying. Kawaki's karma would go away.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Right, actually. Because I'm thinking the data is what erases it. Because that's part of the reason why it even disappears when they resurrect. Because they don't want duplicate people or personalities, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking only the data determines which personality is going to be erased from all the other karmas. So maybe it might just be that. I don't know. We got to find out.
So he said in the unlikely event that a Kiwi truly happens to resurrect as an Otsutsuki, which I think we all know that's going to happen. All says you can do. You don't think so? You can do that.
No,
So I'm gonna say he's gonna fight Kawaki if that happens. So
I mean, he would probably. It's
maybe it's not that close, right?
Strong opponent.
And Kawaki says, "I can't accept your terms." He says, "Power me up comes first. I'm not interested in creating something that might become a new enemy." And he says, "The sequence of events is the issue." He says, "Look, I swear that I will implant that karma in that clone on the premise that I might kill her right away, but only after all our current foes are wiped out. So this might be a while before any of this happens."
Yeah. But I don't think she's going to become or I don't think she is an Otsutsuki when she gets resurrected.
I think she could. Well, there was always the theories and rumors of that Akibi died because he tried to implant her with Shibai cells in the first place, and then she died, and it was very hard to get her to come back somehow.
Well, it said it was an illness. It was some unknown illness that she had. It looked like a fever. And you know, it's funny too. This goes back to a theory I had like multiple years ago. It's the heroin syndrome. I think that's what Mitsuki called it, or something like that. Not heroin, like the drug, but heroin as in female hero, right? Female hero. So Mitsuki in, I forget what episode, probably episode 19. I think so. Episode 19 of Boruto, right? He said, first off, it was the Sarda Shin arc, right? It was the Shin arc. It was when Boruto wasn't really involved too much. So you're wondering, okay, if it's a show about Boruto and they're not involving him, then there's a reason for this, right? Oh, well, it was a novel. No, there's something else to it. There always is, right? And I think it's because of what Mitsuki was talking about. So Sarda and Chocho are at a table, I think at some burger place. I don't know if it's Thunderburger, but some place, right? Some food restaurant. And then Mitsuki, how he always does, he just pops up out of nowhere. It's that little running joke of him just appearing out of nowhere. That he had back then. And what is that? Okay. Well, either way, there was this running joke of him popping up out of nowhere. And when he pops up, he always says something cool, right? Or something interesting, at least. And then this time, he pops up and he's talking to them about something that happens, right? In young girls when they're trying to define who they are. That's what he described the heroin syndrome as. Where when they're trying to define who they are, right? boom, it just happens. And I was wondering, why would you say that? And then I was thinking, oh, hold on. She told that to Sarda because Sarda's trying to figure out who she is, right? She didn't know if her dad and her mom were really her dad and her mom at the time. Same with Chocho, right? Chocho was looking for the guy who touched her on the forehead. It turned out to just be Skinny Choji, right? But what I'm seeing the connection of, right? Because those were two different scenarios between Chocho and Sarda. The common factor, the common denominator is always that they have fevers. Chocho, she was on the bed, right, when she had her flashback of who her father looked like, and it was just a silhouette because they didn't want us to know yet. She had a fever. She had the little towel over the forehead. Same with Sarda. They flashback to Sarda when she had a fever, and actually that's when she unlocked her Sharingan. Not whenever she went to go find Sasuke and she went inside the building and then Sasuke pulled the sword on her. She has had the Sharingan for a while. And it was back when that happened, when she had a fever. Right? And then Himawari.
So it's all correlating with the fever.
Yeah, so like I'm about to tell you that, right? Himawari also had one, episode 18,
Right.
where in episode 18 she got sick. Boruto and Naruto are arguing about what they should give her for food, right? What they should make her. Boruto talking about some hamburger steak, and Naruto, of course, he's talking about ramen because it's him, right? Hamburger and ramen, Boruto, Naruto, but yet again she has a fever, and then in that episode, what else happens? Episode 18. It's her unlocking the Byakugan. It's in the flashback portion of it when they're doing the inauguration for Konohamaru. For Naruto, Konohamaru steps in and takes over because Naruto got knocked out by Himawari. But it's again another person with a fever. And then now we go back to the Tubular Vortex, or even just part one. They show Akabe when she is sick in the same thing. She's covered up, with a blanket over, and then she has the forehead towel, probably a hot steaming towel, or is it a cold towel? Which one is the one they do? A cold one, yeah, cold one.
Yeah.
They have a cold towel over the head, and then that makes me think, okay, why would they be questioning who Akabe is, right? Because Akabe is his daughter, Amato's. But then Kawaki's talking about something. If she turns out to become a Nosusuke or is a Nosusuke, it's because of the identity thing. They're pushing this heroin syndrome. That sounds bad, but the heroin syndrome that Mitsuki explained way back then. So something is going to happen because everyone that we've seen have a fever has powers also in that same episode where they tell us that. Sarda had the Sharingan, Himawari had the Byakugan. It doesn't matter that it happened before the fever, or even during the fever. It's just that they always tie back a fever and then a power up. And then Chocho, same thing, right? Her in her butterfly mode. And then now, Akabe, and whatever her power would be. So if it's
Right.
if she does become a Nosusuke or is a Nosusuke already and they're gonna resurrect her, I think it's a bait and switch, right? So she's gonna show attributes of a Nosusuke, but then not actually be one. That's what I think.
I don't know. Who knows? Well, he said he said he failed time after time. What if that meant that he hasn't perfected a perfect body clone vessel that can handle it?
Well,
such as Kawaki did.
He gave up because he said, "This is the domain of gods." Right? That was the chapter episode even. But it was called the domain of gods. That he said, this is something that humans shouldn't have done, shouldn't have been in. Right? So I'm assuming he's talking about, and then he even told, I think, who did he tell? he told somebody, maybe even just the readers, like, and I know where to use it. It's in the karma. The karma is the way. That's how we're gonna do it, and that's why he's, putting everything in on this karma resurrection plan. He's totally banking on it.
So if we go back to we're on page 27, chapter 18. Welcome back, Strix. So on page 27, so they argue, argue, and this is very interesting. Kawaki says, use any means, whether scientific or otherwise, to make me stronger beyond all limits. Then he says, divine trees, code, and Boruto. He says, you will only reunite with your daughter after slaughtering them all. But he's serious about killing Boruto. And it seems like that's probably what that chapter 1 of Next Generations was. That's what it's going to come down to. He doesn't care. He's going to have to kill Boruto.
Well, no, he said he's going to send him somewhere. That is a change of heart somewhere. From now until then, it's some change of heart. It could not even be like a literal 180. It could just be a slight change, but it's definitely a change of heart. He's not trying to kill him in the I guess it's the future. In the future, in episode 1.
Well, as of right here, he's saying he wants to kill him.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to team up, though, soon. So, okay. So, anyways, on the next page, 28, we get back to Konohamaru and Matsuri. And she says, I wonder how the voice actor is going to do this, too. I wonder if it's actually Noegi's voice actor. But they say, this is the best day of my life. To get to talk so much with you, Konohamaru-chan. Well, not that I've been alive very long, but I'm still so happy Konohamaru-chan will. And he stopped her. He said, wait, hold on. He said, I'm sorry, but could you not call me that? He doesn't even say please. He just said, could you not call me that? He says, why was wrong? He says, there's only one person who calls me that. Oh, he completely that's kind of got off track from the mission. He's mentioning Moegi, basically. He says, so you see, it surprises me too, but it's giving me goosebumps. You don't mind, do you? Just call me Konohamaru. And the next panel, page 30, Matsuri's pissed, instant, like that. It goes from her being all blushy, to instant, boom, she's all upset and mad. And she says, only one. Yeah, no, it will look cool. With the Rinnegan, because it zooms in. This panel right here zooms into the Rinnegan too. She says, only one person, and who's that? And it starts getting intense. And he says, oh, don't read too much into it. And she's pissed. She says, you wouldn't happen to be referring to Matsuri Moegi, would you? It's like, what? And then she says, I'm right, aren't I? So what? Is that woman to you exactly? And it's the next page, 32, her cloak, it looks like a tree branches or something. Because, Moegi could do Woodstock, right? So Matsuri, gets, tree branches off her cloak, and it's, about to kill Konohamaru, or, threatening him. And then, boom, this is, so intense. And then, boom, page 33, go back to Team 7 and Ryu. Mitsuki's here, he says, and Ryu says, I see. Use the thorn bulb as bait. That's some super smart thinking. And you just see it coming out of Ryu.
Yeah. And about that Matsuri shot,
yeah.
The zoom in, I hope they do a vertigo effect. If y'all know what a vertigo effect is, it's where they push the camera forward to whatever's in the forefront, but then the background moves differently from it. You've seen it a lot. It's a very common thing whenever they want to zoom in. They zoom in on the foreground, but then the background moves. It's an illusion. It moves independent, basically, of the foreground. So I think I want that to be a vertical effect. And then same with the branches or her little, I don't know, the thing on her person, the scarf-looking
Cloak or something.
arm thingy, it looks like a squid or an octopus, whichever one. Because I don't know how many is on there. It's like 8 or something. So it's octopus, but those little arms. It reminds me of the Himawari thing. They're doing the little hair jutsu thing, but with her, I don't even know what it's called, outfit thing. So, and it also reminds me of the alien from Life. If y'all seen Life, Ryan Reynolds movie. Well, a lot of good actors are in it, but it's a Ryan Reynolds movie because he was in it. And it has this alien that it like evolves, and it moves exactly like how I want those things on Matsuri to move. Whenever they do that, I want that type of movement, which is pretty, I'm pretty sure they'll do it because like they've had multiple people that do this little like changing of the literal body parts to convey movement, but like Jirai with his hairstyle, anybody with their hairstyle, or jutsu, whatever. And then who else has it? Himawari.
Yeah.
Kushina has it, right? Whenever she's angry, her hair stands up. That's the one I was thinking of. Kushina. I want that to look like Kushina. And it also reminded me of Himawari, though, because it looked like she was about to blow a bomb at him, like a tail beast bomb. It's the same way that she did it to Jura.
Konohama's always finding himself in these weird situations, like with pain and stuff.
And it's always him in romance, too. It's always him and romance.
Okay, so on page 34, so we see Ryu throws the thorn ball, or it comes out of his chest, it floats out of his chest. It's hard to like, wow, that's it, just like the one I saw. And there's a cool panel of it, and so it's Yodo says on page 35, thorn bulb, and then Ryu says, now then, let's see if they bite. Is he breaking the fourth dimension in this panel? That was a big thing when this released.
Nah.
You don't think so? He literally turns around and he says, now then, let's see if they bite. What?
Yeah, but
Is he turning to
I
Mitsuki?
think he's just trying to be funny.
Oh, I guess it's kind of like how in acting. Kind of like how in acting they're like speaking to the fourth wall, and the fourth wall is the audience.
Yeah, it looks like it, but I think it's confirmed that he's just talking to Mitsuki. But
Well,
Jorah
I don't
is
know,
smart enough to do that.
I think he's just trying to be smart, like literally.
Yeah.
Because his personality is literally, I'm pretty sure the opposite, damn near, of Shinky. Shinky is so serious all the time. And he's more lackadaisical,
Yeah. Yeah. So, so we see right here, Yodo on the next page, 36. Yodo jumps and tries to grab the thorn bulb, like already, and it looks like it's a very slow scene. Like the animation is gonna be slow for this. And we see Mitsuki on his face is up close. What?
It reminds me of Shinky in the Chunin exams.
Mm.
Shinky is up in the air, right? Because he has his little wings. I forget what he calls them, iron wings, something like that. But he's flying in the air. Sarada and Boruto are there, and Sarada thinks she dodges or deflects or whatever the Shinky's attack. It wasn't. He was baiting him in because it's a Omen thing. So she jumps up in the same way that they slowed it down in Boruto's perspective, or really in our perspective, because we're watching through Boruto. And she jumps up in the air and talks about some, what did she say? Cha or Chanaru, whatever. The little categories that they have, they're about to swing or punch. And then Boruto is like, Sarada, and then boom, hits him with the little feathers, and it completely takes her out of the battle. And then she gets, not DQ'd because she didn't do anything, but she can't continue. Rock Lee Essence,
Yeah.
she can't continue no more. It reminds me of exactly that. So I wonder if they're gonna do it like that too, where she's up and then slow down and then boom, done.
Yeah. So, what we see on the next panel, we see the Iron Sand go around her, and then he starts laughing. She can't move, and Ryu's like, "Gotcha. I thought this might be the case." And then Missy's like, "Wow, he's not that dumb." It's like a shocker.
Yeah.
And then, so the Iron Sand starts coating everyone's bodies, and then they start to make some move. And this attack, he says they're being manipulated like puppets.
Yeah. I
And
wonder
then we
if
see
that
this.
means Pinky learned that.
Yeah, and then what was his name with the blade?
Araya.
All right. So what happened is we see this big slash, and it's him because he was a puppet user, right? Before,
Yeah, he was a puppet user.
so he knows what's going on. There's some puppetry with the Iron
Yeah,
Sand.
he used his chakra
Yeah.
threads to control his.
Yeah, and this is like
puppets.
they waited until the end of the chapter to show him off, which is cool as a cliffhanger. But it ends with him saying, "Shiki, I never thought I'd have to use this that I created for us in this way. Shiki, will you lend us a hand to with this battle?" And he has a sand-sealing blade, a lodestone sand-sealing blade. And Ryu says, "What the heck? That's so not fair." So it's that battle get interesting. We don't know. The Konohamaru thing's also interesting, but we'll see. The next chapter comes out this month in February. So that concludes chapter 18. There is some big news we have for the podcast. We are adding another series and another way of recording and posting podcasts. We are partnering with the largest X/Twitter community, Boruto community. It's called Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. They have around 20,000 members. And we are going to be hosting the podcast first Twitter Space or X Space on there on February 22nd. We will post in the Discord, the podcast Discord, the schedule. We will continue to have our regular podcast recordings here in the Discord, but we will also include another way of recording that we will also host through the Twitter Space for anyone who's interested over there. We also have Boruto Club. Go to www.boruto.club or 2bluevortex.com. We're all part of the same community, and I hope to see you there. Thank you guys for coming.